Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Okay.
Mark here with
Why American tourists annoy the French? Well, I think that France is very much doesn't like to be told what to do, or especially in their own land. And Americans very much like to think that they can act however they want around the world, and so it's a match made in hell. That's my big guess. I did notice when I go to France that a lot less people speak English, and obviously that's nothing to be. I don't mean like, oh, they don't speak English. Are you kidding? It just they seem very much like they are very confidently French and don't want to encounter super ignorant tourists. That's my guess, I guess. Let's watch. Walter's World original link to the video, top the description.
And today we're in Como, France, and today we're going to talk about are ways that tourists kind of could upset the locals when they come here to France. And that's one thing I really don't want people to do. I want you to go and enjoy a country, enjoy a city without rubbing the locals the wrong way, okay? And when you come to France, probably the first thing you might do that might upset a local is if you walk into a store and you don't greet them back with a bonjour, because you darn well know when you walked into that store, you walked into that restaurant, someone said bonjour, and that is how we work here in France. You need to make sure you greet people when you come into a shop, when you come into a store, because that's just how it is. If you don't do that, you're already starting on the wrong foot. So that's one thing I got to say. Now, another thing I think is important for tourists to know when they come here, you're not going to win any fans if you complain about all the smoking here in France. You'll notice there's lots of outdoor cafes everywhere, and every single outdoor cafe, on every single table, there seems to be an ashtray or a stack of ashtrays that can go on there. Look, you may be coming from a country where smoking isn't cool anymore. Well, here in France, nobody cares. Smoking is definitely a thing here in France. And the thing is, if you don't like it, just go inside and sit inside. You may think, well, I want to sit outside and enjoy it. Well, here in France, you can smoke outside. You can't smoke inside, so just be aware of it. And if you're one of those people saying, pardon, could you put out the cigarette?
At the end of the day, in that situation, when you're in a new place that's not your country, that's an example. Okay, someone's smoking near you, and you're not used to that. Well, you're in the new land. Maybe you should deal with it rather than ask. I think that's like a microcosm of like everything you can do wrong in France.
You're not going to make any friends that way. Another thing that might upset the locals is when you go to a store, you go to a restaurant, or you meet people in the street, and they start speaking English with you, and you start making comments about their French accent. What you have to realize is French is a very strong language, so it really influences the other languages they speak, whether it's English or German or Spanish or whatever.
Imagine being so dumb that you only knowing one language make fun of someone else speaking a second language. That's
so that French accent does come through. And here's the thing, they're trying to speak English to you, they're trying to interact with you. Don't be a jerk and make comments about their accent, whether it's, oh, that's so pretty, or, excuse me, what did you say? I can't understand your English, or I can't understand your German. I've heard that a lot here. Just take calm, pay attention more. You'll get it across, and they'll get it across to you eventually, but don't make fun of the accent.
Sorry guys, have I seemed more frustrated than usual about like American videos of America? I just watched a video about an American like trying to own a cop in Britain, and it just ruined me.
So when you're here, and another thing I think that goes along with that is, if you just start by speaking English right away, or just start by speaking German right away, or Italian right away, that is not something that really goes over well. Because look, if you don't speak French, that's fine. They understand that. But just using a few words like pardonnez-moi, excuse me, je ne parle pas français, I don't speak French, or merci, au revoir, thank you, goodbye. Little things like this will ingratiate yourself. But if you just come in, speak, excuse me, je ne parle pas français.
Je ne parle pas français.
I don't speak French, or merci, au revoir, thank you, goodbye. Little things like this will ingratiate yourself. But if you just come in speaking English, like, hey, I want this for dinner, and not a bonjour or a bon, whatever, that's going to rub people the wrong way, and you don't want to do that. And going along with that is you want to be careful, because a lot of people are like, oh, I know some French. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Or, ooh la la, sacre bleu. Like, those silly French phrases you hear, don't use those, okay? I don't think people are going to be upset with you, but you might get a few eye rolls, which sometimes for certain age groups is worse than having people not like you. So just be aware of that. And probably one word you don't want to use, especially if you're going to Paris, is if you need the waiter. Well, one, you're not going to get the waiter to like you if you try to wave them down, so don't do that. But also yelling garçon, garçon, which is like, hey boy, come here. Now, would you want someone yelling that to you? Of course not. So when they come by, remember, you got to realize it takes time here in France to get service, to get things going. When they pass by, just be, l'addition, s'il vous plaît. The check, please, or you can just...
L'addition, s'il vous plaît.
Do the little check sign. It'll be okay. Okay? So just be aware of that. Now, another thing that will definitely...
I tried saying, like, pare in a bonne. And he just, like, I tried to ask in French where the bathroom is, and he just said, just right away, just said downstairs to the right. That was so funny. And, like, I realized how American I seemed, and that, like, the first thing this he was a bartender, hears me say is me attempting French, and he just knew immediately I was American, and that was kind of
upset the locals, and maybe not piss them off, but break their heart, is if you pass up the cheese plate. And just in general, being picky about the food here in France. I mean, yes, you will have cheeses here that pack a punch in terms of taste, but also smell. And sometimes people will go, oh, I don't know if I want to try that. You can't do that when you're here. The food here in France is fantastic, and they want you to experience it. So don't be a picky eater, because if you are, people are like, what's wrong with my food? Did you at least try it? That's going to turn people off. And that really will show if you're looking at local food. And I think that's another thing, is just not eating the local specialties in different regions of France.
I feel like a lot of these videos can kind of be summed up, not completely, but like act sort of as if you're going into someone's home that they invited you into. Okay, like that's kind of not like, all right, I'm in France. All right, we're America.
France, because a lot of people think, oh, I come to France, I have French onion soup, escargot, foie gras, and frog legs with some steak and fries, and that's what I eat every single day. I mean, you could. Frog legs are hard to get, but you could eat all that. But the thing is when you go to different regions, the food is completely different. Here in Alsace and Colmar, you're having completely different food than you have in Bordeaux or you have in Rhode, okay? Because here, you have sauerkraut with meat on it. Yeah, you have sauerkraut here, or you have Flammkuchen, which is like a flatbread kind of pizza thing with a creamy cheese topping, like instead of marinara sauce. And you go to Normandy where you have the oysters and the cider there. You want to drink and eat the local stuff, because the people are very proud, not just of being French, but proud of their regions, proud of their cities, and so therefore they want to make sure you eat the local stuff. That's why it's cool. The menus here will have like Alsatian specialties for Alsace, Bordeaux specialties when you're in Bordeaux, Brittany specialties when you're in Brittany. That's really great. But if you're a tourist and you kind of shy away from that, that's something that kind of turns off the locals, because that's something they have a lot of pride in. Now, another thing that will probably upset your French friends is if you assume that they're from Paris and they wear a beret. Look, I know in the movies or the TV shows or the Netflix series, it's all about you wear a beret.
Almost
that
like
makes you
too cartoonish. I hope no one would say that.
And you live in Paris.
That's like, imagine going to America and being like, why aren't you wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat? Well, what's going on? It's like, this is New York. What are you talking about?
France is one of the biggest countries in Europe. Like, you were talking hours and hours and hours of drive in different parts of the country. Not everybody's from Paris, just like not everybody's from New York or Berlin, right? And so don't think that everybody's from Paris. And the beret thing, look, you can tell when they're French and they wear a beret versus someone that's not French wearing a beret. Because the French, they know how to wear a beret, but not everyone wears it. So that's why you can easily tell. French guy knows how to wear that beret. French lady knows how to wear that beret. That's totally a tourist, because they have no idea what they're doing. So just know that.
I want to know the trick. Is it like a slight tilt?
Another thing I think is important, because a lot of tourists come through France. Another way you will kind of upset the locals is if you're in a tour group and you kind of take up the whole square, or you take up the whole sidewalk, or you don't move out of the way for people to go.
I'd say that goes for anywhere around the world. That's annoying.
Why? Because you know what? We all know that Paris is popular for tourists, but here's a crazy thing. There's actually people that live there and work there and have to get to work. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? So make sure you're moving moving out of the way with your tour group. And that's one thing I've seen in France is actually the tour guides are kind of bad at getting.
Again, if you've seen any of my reactions to travel videos, you've heard the only stories I have to tell, and it's coming again, all right? I was in the Netherlands, okay? And this is like realizing people have to get to work. And I'm on my bike, and I'm bike. And then there's someone who's like, this isn't Disneyland, in a Dutch accent, this woman. And I realized I was being an idiot. I'm like, this isn't like a theme, like, oh, like there are people who are going somewhere, and you're a dumb tourist in the way.
Getting their tour groups to move to the side. So take it upon yourself to get out of the way when you're in a tour group, just to let other people see things, okay? Now, another little thing that might annoy French people when you're here is that you're loud. Just loud in general, whether you're on the train, the tram, the buses, at the cafe, at the bistro, at the restaurant. Loudness in those situations is not really appreciated because it's more of an intimate setting. We're here with our friends. I'm having my coffee and my cigarette. I'm having my croissant and my juice. I'm having my whatever.
Awesome.
And we're enjoying our company together, not your company over there who's so loud. Okay, so do be aware of that. That's why, you know, the drunk tourist kind of thing kind of turns people off here in France because a lot of times drunk tourists get a bit loud. So just be aware of that. And then I think one that people use as a joke but isn't always taken very nicely here is if you're going to be making fun and calling French like quitters or losers or whatever because of the Second World War. What you have to realize is France has actually won quite a few wars throughout the years.
More than anyone, I believe. It is one of the most annoying. I'm not even French, and I don't like it anymore. I know it's a joke, and I used to make it myself, but as soon as you learn about French history prior to World War II, you'll realize how insane that is, calling them the ones who kind of are militarily incapable or surrender.
And that history and focusing on that really negates all the history of France because of World War II.
Believe me, I'm not one of those.
So
I love
just to
French
give you
history.
a few things that you might do just in jest or in fun or not even realize that might upset your French friends when you're here. So what are some other things that tourists do when they come to France that annoys the locals? Let us know in the comments below so people can have a better time here in France and have a better chance of meeting some of the wonderful people here. And I'll say au revoir from here in Colmar, France.
Great video as always, Walter's World. Glad he reached above a million subscribers. Got that plaque, I'm assuming. Well deserved. Beautiful, amazing video as always, guys. I'd appreciate any comments, any answers to any questions I had, or can teach me something. I'd appreciate it in the comments. Love y'all. Hopefully you hit the like and subscribe button, and I can see you guys next time. Bye, guys.